Good morning, one and all. Today's subject seminar topic is metabolic alkalosis. Moderator is Aditi ma'am. Introduction. Metabolic alkalosis is established by an elevated arterial pH, increase in serum bicarbonate, and increase in PaCO2 as a result of compensatory alveolar hypoventilation. It is often accompanied by hypochloremia and hypokalemia. Arterial pH usually establishes the diagnosis. When pH is elevated, it is alkalosis, and when pH is decreased, it is acidosis. Metabolic alkalosis frequently occurs as a mixed acid-base disorder in association with either respiratory acidosis, respiratory alkalosis, or metabolic acidosis. Causes of metabolic alkalosis: exogenous bicarbonate loads like acute alkali administration, milk alkali syndrome, effective extracellular fluid volume contraction, normotension, potassium deficiency, and secondary hyperreninemic hyperaldosteronism. Causes include of gastrointestinal origin like vomiting, aspiration, congenital chloridoria, gastrocystoplasty, villus adenoma. Causes of renal origin like diuretic usage, post-hypercapnic state, hypercalcemia, hypoparathyroidism, recovery from lactic acidosis or ketoacidosis, non-reabsorbable anions including penicillin, carbenicillin, magnesium deficiency, potassium depletion, Bartter syndrome, where there is loss of function mutations of transporters and ion channels in ascending limb of Henle. Gentleman syndrome, where there is loss of function mutation of sodium chloride cotransporter in distal convoluted tubule. Extracellular fluid volume expansion, hypertension, potassium deficiency, and mineralocorticoid excess, conditions causing high renin like renal artery stenosis, accelerated hypertension, renin secreting tumor, estrogen therapy, conditions associated with low renin, primary aldosteronism, causes like adenoma, hyperplasia, carcinoma, adrenal enzyme defects like 11 beta hydroxylase deficiency, 17 alpha hydroxylase deficiency, Cushing syndrome or Cushing's disease, and other causes like licorice, carbenoxolone, chewers tobacco usage, gain of function mutation of sodium channel in distal convoluted tubule with extracellular fluid volume expansion, hypertension, potassium deficiency, and hyporeninemic hypoaldosteronism like Liddle syndrome. We'll be discussing important causes later, the pathogenesis of important causes later. Pathogenesis. Metabolic alkalosis occurs as a result of net gain of bicarbonate or loss of non-volatile acid, hydrochloric acid by vomiting from the extracellular fluid. When vomiting causes loss of acid from the stomach, bicarbonate secretion cannot be initiated in the small bowel, and thus bicarb is added to the extracellular fluid. This vomiting or nasogastric suction are examples of generation stage in which loss of acid typically causes alkalosis. When there is cessation of vomiting, maintenance stage ensures because secondary factors which prevent the kidneys from compensating by excreting bicarbonate. Maintenance of metabolic alkalosis therefore represents a failure of the kidneys to eliminate the excess bicarbonate from the extracellular compartment. The kidneys will retain the excess alkali and maintain the alkalosis if this volume deficiency, chloride deficiency, and potassium deficiency, when these exist in combination with reduced GFR, or when there is hypokalemia because of autonomous hyperaldosteronism. In the first case, where there is volume, chloride, or potassium deficiency, alkalosis may be corrected by administration of normal saline and potassium chloride. In the latter cases, it may be necessary to repair the alkalosis by pharmacological or surgical intervention and not just with saline administration. This is a flowchart depicting the pathogenesis of metabolic alkalosis during prolonged vomiting. Whenever there is vomiting, there is gastric loss of the acid, hydrochloric acid, loss of sodium chloride and potassium chloride. Loss of acid directly leads to metabolic alkalosis. Loss of sodium chloride will lead to hypovolemia, and which will lead to increase in proximal reabsorption of sodium bicarbonate, which will lead to metabolic alkalosis. Hypovolemia also stimulates renin, angiotensin, aldosterone axis, which will cause hypokalemia, which will increase the distal H plus secretion and renal ammonia synthesis, which will lead to increased H plus excretion and thus leading to metabolic alkalosis. Metabolic alkalosis, signs and symptoms. In the CNS, there can be headache, lethargy, stupor, delirium, tetany, seizures, and potentiation of hepatic encephalopathy. In the cardiovascular system, it can lead to supraventricular and ventricular arrhythmias, potentiation of digitalis toxicity. It can have a positive inotropic ventricular effect. On the respiratory system, it can cause hypoventilation with hypercarbia and hypoxemia. In the neuromuscular system, signs of calcium deficiency can be seen: Chvostek sign, Trozo sign, and weakness. Metabolic effects include hypokalemia, hypocalcemia, hypomagnesemia, hypophosphatemia. Differential diagnosis. To establish the cause, assess the status of the extracellular fluid volume, recommend an upright blood pressure to determine if there is any orthostatic hypotension, serum potassium, and in some cases, assessment of the renin-aldosterone system. For example, if there is chronic hypertension and chronic hypokalemia in a patient with alkalosis, this either suggests that there is mineralocorticoid excess or that the hypertensive patient is receiving diuretics. Low plasma renin activity and normal values for both urine sodium and urine chloride in a patient who is not taking diuretics suggest primary mineralocorticoid excess. Combination of hypokalemia and alkalosis in a patient with normal blood pressure, non-edematous patient, can be due to Barter's or Gitelman syndrome, magnesium deficiency, vomiting, exogenous alkali administration, or diuretic ingestion. Measurement of urine electrolytes, especially urine chloride, and screening of the urine for diuretics is recommended. If the urine is alkaline with an elevated sodium and potassium but low chloride, diagnosis is usually either vomiting or alkali ingestion. If the urine is relatively acidic and has low concentrations of sodium, potassium, and chloride, most likely possibilities would be prior vomiting, post-hypercapnic state, or prior diuretic ingestion. If neither the urine sodium, potassium, nor chloride concentrations are depressed, then consider magnesium deficiency, Barter's or Gitelman syndrome, or current diuretic ingestion. Difference between Gitelman syndrome and Bartter syndrome is this presence of hypocalciuria in Gitelman syndrome. Now, individual differential diagnosis. Alkali administration. Chronic administration of alkali to individuals with normal renal function rarely causes alkalosis. In patients with coexistent hemodynamic disturbances associated with effective extracellular fluid volume depletion, alkalosis can develop because the normal capacity to excrete bicarbonate is diminished or there may be enhanced reabsorption of bicarbonate. Such patients include those who receive sodium bicarbonate either per oral or IV, citrate loads due to recurrent transfusions or therapeutic apheresis, or simultaneous administration of antacids and cation exchange resins like aluminum hydroxide and sodium polystyrene sulfonate. Next, metabolic alkalosis associated with extracellular fluid volume contraction, potassium depletion, and secondary hyperreninemic hyperaldosteronism. Under this, causes of gastrointestinal origin, gastrointestinal loss of hydrogen from vomiting or gastric aspiration causes simultaneous addition of bicarbonate into the extracellular fluid. During active vomiting, the filtered load of bicarbonate reaching the kidneys is acutely increased and will exceed the reabsorptive capacity of the proximal tubule. There is enhanced delivery of bicarbonate to the distal nephron, and this will cause excretion of alkaline urine which is high in potassium. When vomiting ceases, persistence of volume, potassium and chloride depletion triggers maintenance of alkalosis because these conditions prompt bicarbonate reabsorption. Correction of the contracted extracellular fluid volume with normal saline and repair of potassium deficits with potassium chloride usually corrects the acid-base disorder by restoring the ability of the kidney to excrete the excess bicarbonate. Conditions with renal origin, example diuretic usage. Thiazide and loop diuretics like furosemide, bumetanide, torsemide, these increase excretion of salt and acutely diminish the extracellular fluid volume without altering the total body bicarbonate content. Serum bicarbonate increases because the reduced extracellular fluid volume contracts around the bicarbonate in the plasma. Contraction alkalosis. So the chronic administration of diuretics will tend to generate an alkalosis by increasing distal salt delivery so that both potassium and H plus secretion are stimulated. The alkalosis is maintained by persistence of the contraction of extracellular fluid volume, secondary hyperaldosteronism, potassium deficiency, and the direct effect of the diuretic. Discontinuing the diuretic and providing isotonic saline to correct the extracellular fluid volume deficit will repair the alkalosis. Next, non-reabsorbable anions and magnesium deficiency. Administration of large quantities of penicillin derivatives like carbonicillin or ticarcillin cause their non-reabsorbable anions to appear in the urine. This will increase the transepithelial potential difference in the collecting tubule and enhances H plus and potassium secretion. Magnesium deficiency may occur with chronic administration of thiazide diuretics, alcoholism, and malnutrition, and in Gentleman syndrome. But these potentiate the development of hypokalemic alkalosis by enhancing the distal acidification through stimulation of renin and hence aldosterone secretion. Potassium depletion. Chronic potassium depletion may cause metabolic alkalosis by increasing urinary acid excretion. The renal generation of ammonium ion is upregulated directly by hypokalemia. So chronic potassium deficiency also upregulates the renal H plus potassium ATPase to increase potassium absorption, however at the expense of enhanced H plus secretion. Alkalosis associated with severe potassium depletion is resistant to salt administration, but repair of the potassium deficiency will correct the alkalosis. Potassium depletion often occurs concomitant with magnesium deficiency in alcoholics with malnutrition. After treatment of lactic acidosis or ketoacidosis. When an underlying stimulus for the generation of lactic acid or keto acid is corrected by treatment of the underlying disorder, such as correction of shock or severe volume depletion by volume restoration or with insulin therapy, the lactate or ketones are metabolized to yield an equivalent amount of bicarbonate. Exogenous sources of bicarbonate will be additive with that amount generated by the organic anion metabolism to create a sulfate of bicarbonate. Acidosis induced contraction of extracellular fluid volume and potassium deficiency act in concert to sustain the alkalosis. Next, post hypercapnia. Prolonged carbon dioxide retention with chronic respiratory acidosis enhances the renal bicarbonate absorption and the generation of new bicarbonate. Metabolic alkalosis results from the effect of persistently elevated bicarbonate when the elevated PaCO2 is abruptly returned towards normal. Metabolic alkalosis associated with extracellular fluid volume expansion, hypertension, and hyperaldosteronism. Increased aldosterone levels may be the result of autonomous primary adrenal overproduction or of secondary aldosterone release due to renal overproduction of renin. Mineralocorticoid excess increases net acid excretion and may result in metabolic alkalosis, which is typically exacerbated by associated potassium deficiency. Salt retention is due to upregulation of the epithelial sodium channels in the collecting tubule to aldosterone as a result of the associated extracellular fluid volume expansion causing hypertension. The caliuresis persists because of mineralocorticoid excess and distal sodium absorption causing enhanced potassium excretion. Continued potassium depletion with polydipsia, inability to concentrate the urine, and polyuria. Liddle syndrome results from an inherited gain of function mutation of genes that regulate this collecting duct sodium channel. Liddle's is a rare monogenic form of hypertension due to volume expansion, manifesting as hypokalemic alkalosis with normal aldosterone levels. Treatment. This is primarily directed at correcting the underlying stimulus which secretes which is the cause for excess bicarb generation. If primary aldosteronism or Cushing's is present, then correction of the underlying cause, when successful, H plus lost by the stomach or kidneys can be mitigated by the use of proton pump inhibitors or discontinuation of diuretics. Second aspect of treatment is to remove the factors which sustain this inappropriate increase in bicarb reabsorption, such as extracellular fluid volume contraction or potassium deficiency. So hypokalemia should always be treated and also check for hypomagnesemia, and if there is hypomagnesemia, it has to be corrected. Isotonic saline is recommended to reverse the alkalosis when there is extracellular fluid volume contraction. If associated conditions preclude infusion of saline, renal bicarb loss can be accelerated by administration of acetazolamide, which is a carbonic anhydrase inhibitors. It can be given at a dose of 125 to 250 milligrams IV, and this is usually effective in patients with adequate renal function. But if there is hypokalemia, it can exacerbate that. And dilute hydrochloric acid 0.1 HCl has been advocated historically but generally not used as it can cause hemolysis, and it should be delivered slowly in a central vein, and this preparation is not available and is specially prepared by the pharmacist, but its use is not recommended. Thank you.